let's talk about the fine dining at the Disneyland Hotel in Paris. I'm Deb.
And I'm Sam, and together we're Twice Upon a Dream.
If you haven't seen us before, welcome.
If you have seen us before, welcome back.
And if you'd like to see us again, click subscribe. So we once were quite fancy, weren't we? We went to Table de Lumière.
Lumière's table.
Lumière's table. And it was funny that, wasn't it? Because they kept, like, the waiter that was coming up, every time he would bring someone up to our table, he'd be like, and for the next chapter we have this, and I felt a bit awkward. Did you feel a bit awkward?
I felt really awkward.
I
felt awkward for him.
I feel like it was gorgeous.
He was dressed like a footman.
He was dressed like a footman, and I feel like me and Sam sort of turn into scabbers. So when we go into somewhere that feels a bit too posh for us, we go all a bit sort of. So I suppose a little bit we felt a bit cringe, but I think that's because we got it in our head that we weren't posh enough to be there. But we were posh enough to be there, weren't we? Well, I was up until the point.
I'm not sure I was posh enough to be there.
Up to the point. But anyway, so the first
chapter
that our footman brought out to us was an amuse-bouche.
It didn't amuse the bouche.
It didn't amuse anything about us, did it?
It was absolutely rank.
It was. Well, I don't like cucumber, so
it was rank.
So it didn't stand a chance.
I like
for me.
cucumber, and it was rank.
It was some kind of cucumber thing, but the texture of it, everything about it was not.
It made your jaw go.
I got watery gills. It wasn't a good start, was it?
Yeah, well, maybe it was, because obviously it set the bar.
It did really, didn't it? Yeah. So then my next chapter, where the vegan starter it was some kind of like vegetable medley. And disclosure, this menu's probably changed since we went, so we're just telling about the experience, really, not the menu. But it was some kind of sort of vegetable medley thing. Unfortunately for me, it had like a tomato sorbet on the top, and I'm not a great fan of anything that's too tomatoey, so that was all a bit bilious.
Really? What's a tomato sorbet?
Is bilious a word? Or is that
just
it
makes you feel sick. It's a feeling of being sick,
yeah. Well,
made you feel a bit bilious.
It made me feel a little bit bilious. So following on from the amuse-bouche and the rank tomato sorbet, I wasn't filled with inspiration for this whole meal. What did you have for your starter? Was that
my starter? Yeah, it was some sort of pate on the crew.
Oh, that looked so good.
Absolutely banging, 10 out of 10.
And you have this a lot when you're vegan. Is yours will come out and you'll think, oh, that's all right, and then you'll see the other one. You think, oh, God, that looks nice.
And I'll sit there like.
Yeah, the worst case of that was in Remy's, wasn't it? When your dessert came out, this stonking down over,
it was absolutely gorgeous.
And I got a little, basically a jam jar with some fruit cocktail in it. But might as well insert this just so they can see the discrepancy between. But anyway.
But yeah, mine was a pate en croûte, and it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, the lights got off again. We're getting this fixed this week.
We are getting it fixed this week. And actually, I won when it came to the main. Well, I felt like I won when it came to the main because it was some kind of like wheat and soy protein medallions. It was basically like steak medallions. It was decent, and I used to love steak before I went vegan. Can't fault it. There's no reason to have the other one. It was nice. It was really nice, and it came with, I think it had like pok choy or something with it, some kind of vegetables, and that was good.
It did look nice.
That was good. That impressed me. It was like at that point I felt like the meal was saved. Like oh yeah, this is nice.
Yeah. And I had I think it was the beef with mashed potato.
It looked good.
There's something else on it. I can't remember.
That mashed potato looked good.
Something else wasn't that nice. The mashed potato and the beef was nice.
Don't order something else.
It's probably not on the menu anyway anymore. But it was nice. Yeah. It was really nice.
So for dessert, honestly, when they brought mine out, something about the look of it. I just thought, oh, that texture is offensive. I haven't even tried it yet.
Oh, yeah, that frothy thing.
Yeah, it looked like something like the cat had thrown up. You know, like when cats.
No, it looked like sea foam. I thought.
Yeah, it didn't look
like something I'd want to eat.
No, it didn't look great, and it was some kind of coconut emulsion. They call it, didn't they?
When they start describing things with words like that, you think, all right, what is it?
What is it though?
We're giving it a posh word, but what is it? What's an emulsion?
What is that? What are you doing there with that? But anyway, it was just alright. It didn't taste awful. The texture was weird. It had little crunchy bits in, if I remember rightly, and like mango, and it was fair enough. It was alright.
Yeah, and I had strawberry tart.
Oh, that looked good.
They looked gorgeous. Had the little fleur-de-lis on the chocolate on the top.
Yeah, that was really
I will say the chocolate on the top was a bit like Easter egg chocolate. It was very waxy, but the actual...
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that, would
No,
you? You'd have expected really nice chocolate.
wasn't that nice, but the actual tart itself was lovely.
I bet that
Really
fleur-de-lis
nice.
chocolate that you had on top of that is the same as the tiny fleur-de-lis chocolates you get in that whiskey.
That whiskey thing that you
Yeah.
have, yeah, probably.
Yeah, so it is a bit waxy.
Yeah, it was nice. The dessert itself was nice, but
Yeah.
the chocolate.
And speaking of drinks,
Wasn't dairy
I
milk.
got was it called Winter's Rose? And it was a mistake really me ordering that because it's made with champagne. Stop laughing already. It's made with champagne and some kind of liqueur. And I thought I do like a liqueur, but I don't like champagne. But I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
it looked posh though.
it looked really nice.
When's
didn't
your
it?
chance to get a drink that looks
I,
that
I
posh?
was like, do you know what? I want that for me, Gram.
Yeah.
So I ordered it, and
I got I don't know what, I can't even remember what I ordered. I'm sure it was some sort of non-alcoholic cocktail, but
Yeah.
they served it in a little teacup and saucer.
Oh, it was so
It
pretty
was-
that.
Yeah, it was cute. It was
Yeah.
really cute, and it was vegan. So I offered you a little taste of it,
And,
if you recall.
yeah, and I reached to grab the cup, and remember we're being posh, so I reached to grab the cup so I could have a little taste, and brought it forth, and it caught on the top of my
Straw.
did it have a straw?
Yeah, it was
Or
your
whatever
straw,
it
yeah.
was of me Winter's Rose thing. Me Winter Rose, which had a huge ice cube right down
With
the
the
middle of
rose
it,
set in
which
it.
by the way is quite a bit of a rip-off really, because almost all of that drink was ice cube.
Well, almost all of that drink ended
But,
on the floor
but anyway, the whole thing ended up on the floor. Oh, hello.
with a big thud.
With the clatter it made, and it skidded, didn't it? It sort of clattered and skidded, and it was made such a bloody exhibition of me.
We were sat at the most perfect table in the window so we could watch all the fireworks and everything.
Yeah, it was lovely, wasn't it? And it went,
and then you
everywhere.
trounced it with your drink.
Yeah,
It just went everywhere.
and our footman came. Oh, I'll move you to another table, and moved us to another table where she was sat with her face against the wall. So I basically ruined that.
No, it was
I
alright.
ruined that.
But
But
then
then
I stood up and had a
Then
look.
what really got me was, and I don't know, I think I probably expect too much from customer care, because when he said, "Oh, I bring you another one," stupid me thought I was just going to get a replacement,
Yeah.
but it was on the bill twice.
Oh, yeah, it was,
wasn't
yeah.
it? It was on the
Yeah.
bill twice. I thought, if that was me, if that was my customer
I
care,
feel like normally that wouldn't happen. Surely that was a bit of a discrepancy that doesn't normally happen.
surely, because you'd think I literally hadn't had any of it, and it ended up on the floor. It was an accident.
Ended up you chucked it on the floor.
It was an accident though, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
I felt like if that was my level of customer care, I would have been, oh, we'll replace that for you. You know, I'm terribly
Yeah.
sorry that happened to you, man.
Oh, definitely. And then we had the characters come round, don't they? The princesses and the princes, which is brilliant. But it's a funny thing about character dining. I love to go and experience the dining. But then when you're in the middle and you're just about to put something in your face, and
Yeah.
Snow White rocks up, and you think, and you see him coming, and you think, do I start?
think
Do I put it down?
I wish with character dining that the characters,
I know what you're going to say.
that the characters were there and you went to them.
You approach them,
And-
yeah.
But I suppose that wouldn't work, because it'd be a free for all, wouldn't it? And what I'm not a big fan of, because Disney adult, Disney fan.
Me?
Yes, Disney adult, Disney fan. And what I'm not a fan of is me having to pretend to go along. I feel a bit stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Everybody feels a bit
Do
of a
they?
berk, yeah.
Do they? Even Disney adults feel stupid at that point. Like
I always-
I'm pretending that this person dressed as this person is this person, and I'm actually a grown woman. It feels,
Oh no, I get into that.
yeah,
bit.
no, that's what I
must
mean.
admit,
I feel like
it
Disney
gets me a
adults
little
don't mind that, but I do. So
bit.
when
But there's no pretend, because that's Tiana and Naveen. You know,
it is,
and they've been.
yeah,
opening up the-
it is. You've got to get into, you've got to embrace the whimsy, haven't you? And I
You
think
have to.
I
yeah.
think that's something I do struggle with. Like you're going up and like hugging Mickey Mouse, for me, feels embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know. It does though. I don't know who I'm hugging. Sorry. Oh my god.
This has gone too far now.
The channel's closed.
It's finished. We're done.
Have I shut us down with that?
Could have
I
done.
might have shut us down with that. I'm sorry. I mean, obviously it's Mickey Mouse.
Obviously.
It's Mickey Mouse. Something about me feels cringe cuddling him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I don't.
Yeah. So anyway, the characters come round.
We
and
digressed.
That's nice, and you do get some nice pictures. My pictures were very nice.
No, my
so I won't be
pictures
showing
were very
any of
nice. Oh,
those.
you're going to put mine on? Great.
I might do. If you approve, I will. Yeah, it was a nice experience. In the fireworks. And
It was
that
lovely.
was
Being
lovely.
able to see the fireworks from your table was.
Yeah,
It would
was-
have been nice.
It was lovely.
You don't have to pay
I think
for it.
the other thing as well that I've never encountered in a restaurant, and I've been to some very fancy restaurants in my life, I've never encountered them basically saying, sit there while I count your money.
Yeah, that was the
I was
biggest
so
cringe out of
embarrassed.
anything. Are you cringing, hugging Mickey Mouse? I was cringing.
Yeah,
He was counting the money.
Yeah, we put the
We
money.
must have looked like the peasants we are. I mean, maybe he doesn't count everybody's
I'm
money.
not a
Maybe,
peasant,
maybe he
excuse
just
me.
looked at us and thought they're doing a
Yeah,
runner.
I was like, we put the money plus a decent tip on the table
Yeah.
with the bill thing, and proceeded to stand up to leave, as I always do whenever I'm in a fancy restaurant. I've never had a problem with that
just
before.
chuck your
And
money
he
down
was basically like, hang on a minute, where do you think you're going? No, because I'm just going to count this and make sure you're not absent. I mean,
bet you your hand's a thief.
I've never been so insulted in my life, honestly.
Well, then you stood there with a Burke face on, like he's counting your money.
Thinking, well, go on, count it. And then he felt embarrassed.
Then he looked uncomfortable
because he's like, oh,
because he basically had to release us.
yeah, it was basically like, there's a hefty tip here, and I've just accused them of stealing.
Yeah.
So that was,
I don't think he accused us of stealing.
he might
He
as well have
accused
done.
us of looking like thieves.
He definitely did. I just thought, this is ridiculous. Absolutely. So I would say that experience was a great experience in that half of my food was delicious.
My food was delicious, but it wasn't the best food I've ever had in my life. I thought it was, yeah, it was probably 7 or 8 out of 10.
The experience
The
was
experience was lovely. If you don't mind being fawned over, that whole fawning thing, I'm a little bit of a put down and off. You know, I just wanted to put my food down and leave me to eat it. There's something really cringe about that, because he says, unforgettable we have, and then a big long in French explanation of something you don't understand. You sat there looking like a bit like,
You feel a bit stupid, don't you? But I think I would go there again, and I'd embrace the experience a little bit more, because I think we weren't quite expecting just how sort of pompous and posh that was.
I feel like when I go to places like that, even just being in the Disneyland Hotel, I mean, you've taken me there a few times now, but even just being in there, I feel like it's too posh for me.
No.
I feel like
She's saying that. She's the one that rings down saying, please could I have a beauty pillow sent to the
you've got to
room?
embrace it. Yeah. But you know what I
Doesn't
mean?
take you long to get
Oh,
into
no,
the swing of it,
because
does
once
it?
you're in your own room, you can scrub about like anybody else.
I do not.
But you know what I mean. You can be yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the hotel in general, you can be yourself. Suddenly, I went into there, and I thought, oh, who do I have to be in here then? Well, it turns out you can be yourself.
It
So
does.
next time, I'll probably enjoy
I would
it
go
more.
again, and it'd be
Yeah,
absolutely fine.
I'll be a little bit more relaxed. I think
we went in there, and it was just so stunning inside, and so sort of fancy, and the food that was coming out was so fancy that we had a little bit of imposter syndrome.
Well, they were talking
didn't
at us
we?
like we were fancy, and it was like
we're not really fancy at all. But
she's definitely fancy, by the way.
I am quite fancy.
She's definitely fancy.
I think I can embrace the fancy. You can embrace the characters and all the Disney stuff, and I can just embrace being fancy.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Until you start chucking your drink all over the floor. But yeah.
Yeah, well, we all have our moments, don't we? Speaking of moments,
Oh, yeah.
Well, we'll tell that story when we get onto the Royal Banquet, which we are about to do.
You mean the fact that some of the things that were on the plates were actually inedible?
Well, you ate it, though, didn't you? Anyway, let's just.
We'll come to that.
So the Royal Banquet was it was an experience we just wanted to have. wasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just like, we've got to go in there. There's going to be Mickey and Minnie in there,
Which,
all dressed
you
in
know,
the royal.
Deb was desperate to hug Mickey and Minnie.
Well, all dressed in the royal finery and everything. And don't get me wrong, I love seeing them come past. You can't not smile when you see Mickey and Minnie.
Oh no,
You can't. And as much as I'm not the Disney adult that wants to like, oh, hug me or anything, I am like, oh, there's Mickey
Oh
and
yeah,
Minnie.
well
and
I'm
they're
the
cute.
same.
Yeah.
To be fair, hugging them's all very well and that, but if I had the choice, I'd be quite happy to just like, you know.
It's nice when they just visit your table and it's like, oh, they just make you smile, don't
Yeah,
they? Because
they do, yeah.
these are characters from your childhood, so you love them. But I would say, as a vegan, I've read reviews where people say there's a load of vegan options, and there are. Well, the day
There wasn't that many when we
the
were
day I
there.
was there were a lot of vegan options, and they were all vegetables and rice. It's
Yes,
like,
yeah.
where's the vegan protein? You know, where's the like?
Maybe there normally is some, but that
Maybe.
specific day,
I did not get
it
lucky. I ended up with a plate
bereft.
of vegetables and rice. And was it nice? Yeah, it was really nice. But I felt like for the price we were paying, there was something lacking there
Yeah,
for the vegan
definitely.
options. You were all right with
That
yours.
was fine. I mean, you'll see mine. It looks
You
like
had mac and cheese and chicken and
yeah, it always looks like somebody's leftovers. So, you know when you scrape all the leftovers onto a plate before you put it in the bin? Every time I go to a buffet, that's my plate.
well, yeah, you want to.
It's like a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
None of it goes together, but it actually it did go together.
Yeah, you
and it
really
was,
enjoyed
yeah,
that,
it
didn't
was.
you?
It was lovely.
And then dessert wise, again, there was some vegan desserts. I seem to remember. I don't think I took a picture of this. I think it was the same kind of like little square apple crumble that you get in like Pim Kitchen and places
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
And also the same like chocolate mousse that I've also
That like
seen.
dark chocolate
Yeah,
mousse.
and that is actually really
It is
nice.
really
And
nice,
both of them were nice, but compared to the
I had a whole table full of choice,
yeah.
and as I was walking down the table, I was like trying a little bit of all the pretty, cute little
Yeah.
things, a little Tiana cake and things like that. And I had my eye on this. There was a beautiful big like rose,
Looked like a chocolate
red rose.
didn't it?
I was thinking that's dark chocolate and raspberries that. And I saw the woman in front of me actually pick her tongs up as if she was going to get it, and I was there thinking, oh, she's going to get that because it was the last one on the plate. Anyway, she didn't. She changed her mind and put the tongs back on the plate. So I thought, right, that's got my name all over it. So I put it on my plate. Insert picture here.
Yeah, so then as Sam starts eating this, I can see the guy behind her, like the waiter guy. Look, I could say he was enjoying it. His nostrils were flaring, like trying not to laugh. And Sam was saying, it's a bit tasteless. This it doesn't.
Tasteless. It was.
It doesn't taste too much. This I don't like the texture of it.
Oh, it was.
And
it
I
was
said-
so waxy.
And she said it's waxy.
it's the most waxy
And I
chocolate I've
said-
ever had.
And I said, is that because it is wax? And it's like, you're not meant to be eating that. That's like the table centerpiece. It's like, that's
To
not.
be clear, it was the only thing on the plate.
And you had it all in your teeth.
So
You had it all in your teeth as well.
if it had had a load of stuff around it, I might have known it was the
It
centrepiece.
was the last thing on the
But it was
plate.
the last thing on the plate, so
Oh,
I
yeah, the
just
last one.
thought that's a posh dessert. I'll be having a bit of that. I can't ever go back. I have never. She said the guy behind you's absolutely having a right laugh.
Said that guy behind us absolutely
I have
dying.
never left somewhere so quickly, and I can't ever go back in there again. I ate the centrepiece.
And you had the red wax in your teeth as you really. I was like, oh my god, you thought I was just come back with that thing, with that drinking Lumiere's
yeah.
place. And I felt like
I tell you.
I had the last laugh with that.
Yeah, you think you can scumbag? You ain't seen nothing.
Oh yeah, so that was funny.
So, but the desserts were 10 out of 10. I wished I'd have ended on something other than the wax centrepiece because that wasn't a nice taste to go back with in my
the
mouth.
character meet and greets were nice. We had Goofy and Pluto and Mickey and Minnie. And
Yeah, I
the
think
dwarf
normally you get
family.
Mickey and Minnie and then another 2 characters,
Yeah.
which sort of switch it up. But we got some nice pictures.
And
But if you had to choose between the 2, the Royal Banquet and Lumiere's Table, what do you think?
that's a tough one because the Lumiere's main course was really nice, and I loved that you could see the fireworks out the window. And
Yeah, but of course that's not guaranteed. Where
it
you get
depends.
sacked.
I'd be interested to find out if there was like a vegan protein and it just was, ran out or something
Yeah.
when we were at the Royal Banquet, because I don't think paying that amount of money, and I know it's not about the food, it's about the experience as well, but just to have rice and vegetables was a little bit disappointing
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I think out of the 2,
You can't go to the Royal
yeah,
Banquet again.
if I ever dared show my face again, I might choose.
Shall we do it again?
Choose the,
That's-
maybe it'd
Yeah.
be quite nice, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
would.
It'd
I
be
think-
quite nice, but
Yeah.
there's a restaurant that we've yet to do.
Oh yeah. That's the Secret Forest.
The Secret Forest, which
We're
we
booked
have
in.
booked.
We're booked in. We're so excited.
So yeah, watch out for that vlog because that's going to be.
And you have to go up in your private little. We'll turn into scabbers, won't we? Again?
Oh, God.
Imagine it, we're not fancy. We have to
like
change.
we didn't feel fancy enough for Lumiere's, and now we're going to go.
Yeah,
in the,
we're going to have to change our mindset for that one. We
Yeah.
are fancy. If we're there, we're fancy enough to be there, aren't we?
Yeah.
So. Well, every time we go, we experience something new and different. And,
Yeah.
And unique. And I don't think we'll ever run out of things to experience. They just keep coming up with more stuff, don't
well,
they?
yeah, and the menus change and the.
Well, they do. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Well, yeah. I think Lumiere's menu's already changed since we last went. Oh, we're going to have to go again, aren't we?
maybe.
So yeah, that's our experience of fine dining at the Disneyland Hotel. I would recommend it. In spite of what we've said about some negatives about the food, and
Yeah.
stuff, I would recommend it. Yeah, so until the next time, see you later. Bye.